Hey guys, I know it's been a while since you've seen my face, but well, here it is. um, so far, my start to 2020 could be better. I'm really not impressed with this year so far. But with that being said, January it was a good month overall. I had my birthday, and it was fun. I had a good time, and 34 is not so bad, I guess. Anyway, the problem is that as soon as I get to this time of the year, it can be really challenging just because I live in Minnesota. It's extremely cold here. I'm not from Minnesota. I'm not used to seeing this amount of gray and white for quite some time. And so usually by the time January and February roll around, I'm like, okay, I need green. Are we done yet? Please, thank you. And then I kind of just got a stream of bad luck, aside from dealing with depression and kind of the lack of color in my environment and the inability to really go outside because it's so freaking cold. My kitty, who you guys just saw enter the frame, she got sick. I had to take her to the vet. She's lost a lot of weight, and it was kind of a mess. So she's doing okay. She was put on medication, and I have changed her diet, as you can probably see in the frame as she walks away. Here, there. Some of her fur is missing because she was having trouble grooming her long hair, and so they shaved some of her fur. So her and her sister are going to be 16 this year. They're getting up there in age, and it's just been stressful to watch them go through some of the elderly challenges that cats go through. But so far, they are both doing okay. I have had scares with both of them in the last year, and yeah, it's not fun. The week after that, which I mentioned in my last video, my sons both got sick. My oldest son got pneumonia and strep throat. He also has asthma, so when he gets sick, he really, really struggles to breathe, and he was a premature baby, so he has some struggles with being born prematurely, which is mostly due to his lungs and having asthma, and it's a challenge. So I had to take him to the doctor twice. It's just been a stressful time for me. So I'm glad you guys were patient, and tonight I think I thought it'd be really fun to just jump back into YouTube by sharing some of the favorite things I've been enjoying lately. I don't usually do favorites videos, but this might be something that I might start. I don't know, we'll see. Either way, I thought it'd be really fun to kind of get into some of the things that I've been loving lately. I've changed up some of my journaling, and I have been enjoying some books, and I've been setting goals for myself. I've been doing as much as I can to try and care for myself as I go through this depressive state. And I've also gotten some gifts and things for my birthday that I thought would be really fun to share. So yeah, let's just get into it. I will first start with books. The first one is the one that I'm currently reading, and then the next few I'm going to share are ones that I have picked up recently or been gifted recently and really am looking forward to diving into. So what I'm currently going through right now is The Journey to the Dark Goddess, and this is by Jane Meredith. This book so far is really interesting. It talks about the myths of each goddess who has gone to the journey of the underworld and how that correlates to us and soul retrieval. And it's very shadowy. It's very relatable. I'm not super far in, as you can see. There's my bookmark, which is actually Lisa from Supportive Tarot with Lisa here on YouTube. This is her business card. So, Lisa, I use you as my bookmark. Anyway, one of my bookmarks. This book so far just kind of floats in between those myths and then our own personal descents to the underworld as we go through phases of grief, phases of loss, phases of depression, phases of darkness, of this, like the dark night of the soul and things like that, and how to not resist when we are pulled into those moments in life, and what we can learn from them. And seeing as I've experienced one within the last few years of my life, I really felt that this was something that I really wanted to understand more, and I'm really connecting with it on a deep level. So I will do a full review once I read through this book, but so far I'm quite enjoying it. So the next three books are ones that I got recently as gifts and or bought for myself for my birthday, or whatever, accumulated within the last like month and a half. This one I started to read, and I actually switched gears just because I wanted to focus on something else, which is the book behind me. But this is The Norse Shaman, and this is by Evelyn Riddick. I don't remember how to say her last name, but oh my god, I'm sorry guys. Anyway, this takes shamanism and ties it into Norse magic. So I have been exceedingly curious about this, especially as I dive deeper into my practice with connecting to the Norse gods. Those are the deities that I primarily work with, not only work with, but primarily work with. And I really want to dive deeper into Norse magic and learning the runes and everything that kind of goes along with that this year, learning about the Sedir and diving more into Norse mythology, anything I can get my hands on. I also really kind of want to explore more with astral travel and journeying and things like that. So I really thought that this book would be a perfect addition to some of the things that I'd like to explore this year. So once I read through this, I will let you guys know kind of what I think about it. And then this one was gifted to me for my birthday. This is The Supernatural, Why the Unexplained is Real. I love stuff like this, guys. I absolutely love the supernatural. I have been fascinated by the paranormal since I was little. I've had plenty of my own experiences, and I just love reading stuff about the things that people experience, and because I just think that there's so much in this world that we can't explain. And so to have books published on it where people really kind of talk about why these things are real and sort of going at it with a little bit more of a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say cynical, because it's not at all what I'm looking for. A little bit more of a scientific brain, but still open to the possibilities, not completely disregarding them. I love when there's a middle ground. So this one I'm really, really looking forward to diving into. It seems really interesting. There's also a Dean Radin is the author who does the book Real Magic, and I've been really wanting to read that one as well. But he has a little snippet on here about this book, and it says, "If reading The Supernatural doesn't make your hair stand straight up, you need to read it again. This book is all at once disturbing and disorienting, but fascinating and lucid." Just, it sounds so cool. So I'm really looking forward to reading through this and seeing kind of what fun things are in here to mull my head around. The last one is more of one I'm not going to read cover to cover, but kind of go through as I go through the year, because that's its purpose, and that is the great work. This is by Tiffany Lizak. Or Lizik. That's an I. Dyslexia, guys. It's fun. Anyway. So this one is really, first of all, the cover is just gorgeous, but don't judge a book by its cover, guys. This one is really something that I have been sort of doing my whole life, but as I have gotten older, I have been more aware of. And ever since I discovered this book, I was like, yes, absolutely, yes. It says, Tiffany Lizak weaves together psychology, myth, meditation, and keen observation of the natural world, creating an invaluable and original resource for healing work of all kinds, inviting and accessible to all readers. This book goes through the wheel of the year, and each part of the year has basically a section of the psyche that you can essentially heal, and it has journal prompts and exercises, and it's just very involved. And I was going to kind of pick it up maybe not in order, in chronological order. I might actually just go through and see what maybe needs to be worked on the most, and then wait till that season and then go through that. I haven't quite decided yet how exactly I want to go through this, but it's something I'm really looking forward to, because it's something that I'm really passionate about, combining mental health with spirituality. And so I was really, really thrilled to get this book. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is my journaling situation. I very recently kind of switched up a little bit, not a whole lot by much, I guess maybe, of what I've done or what I have been doing. This is my tarot journal. This is my art journal that I record my readings in. This is the one that has, you know, all the moon readings and my daily draws, and it goes chronologically, and it's got all that fun stuff in there. So that's my like creative expression basically. And I'm going to continue to do this throughout the year. I'm out of focus all of a sudden. Hello, thank you. I'm going to continue to do this throughout the year because it's just something that's really fun for me. So there's that. And then this was my planner. As you guys know, this is called the Bullet Keeper. I've shown this on my channel numerous times before. I started this last year. There are a few months left in this journal, but I have kind of decided to do something different. Not by much, but it is different, and I did end up purchasing it, and I'm going to start working with it. But this one, as you can see, I'll find my favorite month. It allows you to be extremely creative. It's a blank template, and then it goes through blank templates for the weeks, and you can kind of just do what you want. And then in the back here, I was putting in monthly pages for tracking my symptoms, my goals, and this right here, this template, I shared this in one of my last videos when I talked about this journal, and I completely forgot to add the person who made this template. This is from blessingandmanifesting.com. Just so you guys know, I will put the link down below this time. But this template is about like your monthly magic and some of the things that you like to do. I really, really liked this idea. I thought it was fun. And then kind of a review page of what I did in the month. And then it kind of goes into 2020. Yeah, so I've been bullet journaling basically. And I like the idea. I do. I really enjoy bullet journaling. But for a planner, I wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to put that much effort into it for my daily planning system. So I've made it pretty far in this book. Like I said, I only have, I think, like 2 months left before this would have been done with. But I decided to finish a little bit early because I got inspired to do something else, and that's okay. I made that video on, I'm just trying to put that down there in this little bin that I have. I made that video on my goals last year and what I did and didn't achieve, and I tried to be as realistic as I could about it. But I kind of really started to mull over the goals that I have been wanting to achieve and how to really focus on them to maybe make myself feel better about myself and give myself more love. Because I realized that once we meet a goal and we achieve something, it really boosts our confidence because we realize I can actually do that, and that's amazing. I still, of course, completely maintain the concept that you should be realistic about the goals that you set. And don't give yourself too much grief if you don't. But I decided to look into a planner that really sort of focused on self-development and goals and things that you can break down and achieve either on a daily, weekly, monthly, or 3 months basis or yearly basis. And I found, well, I didn't find, this came recommended to me by a good friend. It's called the Legend Planner. I just got this not that long ago, earlier this week. It comes with a whole sheet in here on how to use it, but there's a lot, it's a lot of prompted. So the first bit is awareness and self-discovery, your vision, and it gives you journal prompts on how to kind of go through talk about that, about who you are, the things that you enjoy, the things you're passionate about. And then you're supposed to put down 50 things that you want in your life, no matter how unrealistic, which I thought was okay. Like, even if I don't achieve these things, there's still things I'd like to have happen in my life. We all know that's probably not going to all happen, but then you break it down further into this mind map, and I kind of started to color code it. Then it has a vision board that you can create for the year, and then it has your 1-year goals, and they're all broken down by parts of your life. And again, I color coded it because my brain thinks in color. Hence my tattoos, they're all colorful. And then it kind of goes into your strategies. So the things that you do to achieve your goals. And it says skills and habits that I need to learn to achieve my goals. My bad habits and bad behaviors that I want to break. Positive people to spend more time with and negative people to avoid. And then it kind of goes into, on this page it says my daily rituals. So morning routines, evening routines, and then there's a page for just like a little bit of gratitude, and then affirmations. Now every 3 months it will have a 3-month goal thing that you can do. And the cool part is that it really breaks it down, and I kind of like that. It makes goals more realistic, more obtainable, more, yeah, I can do that, you know. So I have 3 goals for the next 3 months, and it is be consistent in my spiritual practice. And then in one of the boxes it asks why that you want it, which I thought was really cool, because a lot of the time we don't ask ourselves why we want something. And then reward if achieved, and it doesn't have to be anything material. It can just be what you hope to gain from achieving this goal. Being consistent in my spiritual practice, I hope to obtain more wholeness and connection within myself and within the world around me. Goal number 2, read at least 2 books. I kept it simple. I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm going to read 5 books in 3 months, because I felt like if I did that, I would just, it's not going to happen. I just didn't want to get too ahead of myself. Maybe in 3 months, if I read 5 books somehow, I can up that a little bit. So it says, why do I want it? To expand my knowledge. I love to read. I love to know things. I'm an Aquarius. We like to know things. Reward if achieved. I'm going to buy myself another book. This is the only material reward I put on here. Goal number 3, start an exercise routine. I tried to do this last year. I failed. I'm going to find a way to make it work. And it says, why do I want it? To respect my body. I want it to respect my body, because if I care for my body, then I respect it, and then I respect myself. Reward if achieved. Self-love. It's as simple as that. So I tried to be realistic about them. Now the cool part is on this page it says my tactics. So that's when you start to break down what you plan on doing to achieve these goals on an even more broken down basis. So you know, I kind of went into time management and show up when I don't feel like it, and prioritize. For instance, when it comes to reading, I said, put away my phone, be consistent with what I plan to read, keep engaged, practice, or, you know, prioritize my time again, and then get it just a few pages in each day. Try not to get ahead of myself. The same with the action steps for exercise. Dust off my weights and my yoga mat. Starts with that. Starts with cleaning those things, because then I'm preparing them to be used. And then find videos to go along with. That sort of stuff really helps me. I'm a very visual person. Don't overdo it. Prioritize my time. Trying new things each time so I don't get stagnant. Focusing on certain parts of the body with each workout. Maybe one day I do cardio. Maybe the next day I focus on my abdomen, or I focus on, you know, my upper body, or, you know, things like that. And then I put understand what my body needs. So I thought that was a really great tactic, or a really great way to achieve goals, is to breaking them down into simpler steps. Not something I ever considered. And it just made it more realistic and obtainable to me. So I was like, yeah, let's give this a shot. And then after that, it goes into the calendar months. And the cool part about this is it has like a notes page right here, which I'm probably just going to put my my tarot cards for the month, and then maybe like some magical things I'd like to manifest. And then it says 4 most important goals for the month, and then things I will do to make this month great. And then it has categories for health and fitness, fun, recreation, hobbies, family, friends, romance, relationships, personal development, and spiritual. So it all is very self-development, get your shit done. I like it. So this goes into, you have 12 calendar months after this. Well, the cool part about after your calendar here is it has your monthly review, and you can kind of go through what you did, what didn't work for you. It's got an ideas and notes page here for each month that you can kind of do whatever with. And it says, how do I feel about my progress this month? What are the 3 most important lessons I've learned during this month? What areas of my life were lacking this month and why? What are the 3 things I can improve for next month? What major action steps can I take to improve these or make these improvements? So yeah, this is after each calendar for 12 months. And then after 12 months, it goes into your weeklies. So it's got the days of the week over here, and then on this page it has a habit tracker, this week's main goal, reward if achieved, work to-do list, and personal to-do list. Since I'm a stay-at-home mom, it'll probably be work to-do list will be like things I need to do around the house or for the kids. This week's wins, how I will improve next week, and then at the very bottom here it says week's main goal achieved, rewarded myself, vision refreshed, goals refreshed. So you can check that off as the week goes, and then it has this kind of blank like dot grid space that you can do whatever you want with. I like that. I like that idea too. I like focusing on things every week that I can do to feel better about myself and to feel better about what I'm doing. And it's really easy to get swept up in it, especially when you live with chronic pain, when you live with depression and anxiety, and you're a stay-at-home parent. Like it's not easy. I'm not saying that anyone else's is less difficult either. We all struggle. But this is something that I felt would really personally inspire me, and I want to be inspired. In the very back of the page here, or back of the book, after you finish the weekly stuff, it has some blank, just dot grid pages. So I decided to put a future log for appointments, and then future projects I put there. When did I last, and a cleaning schedule, and then a when did I last spiritual edition. 2020 moons are going to go right here, and then books to read, which will be there, which I'll show you guys as soon as I'm done, and YouTube. And then there's a few other pages here that I can work with depending on what I want. It also comes with stickers. So yeah, that is the legend planner, and that is the main thing I switched up in my journaling. And I rambled about it for longer than I wanted to. This video is going to be long, sorry guys. We're here for it. It's happening. The other favorite thing I quickly wanted to mention is I got a new phone. I got the Google Pixel 3a, and I love it. Just wanted to quickly say that. My husband surprised the shit out of me with it too. He just snuck it in the house and then like came over and dropped it in my lap, and I was like, I'm sorry, what just happened? It was pretty funny. The other thing I changed up is that this is now my book of mirrors. I was using this lovely journal. Oh, I am not. That my friend made me, but I decided that I actually wanted to use this for my readings and my spreads, so that will all go in here for tarot, just for spreads that I want to jot down, brainstorm, that kind of stuff. So I keep that by my altar. This one is just my book of mirrors for journaling about my practice, any sort of musings and thoughts I might have, and brainstorming for spells, all that stuff. This is my spiritual brain dump, so that changed too. So that's it for journals, books. Next I'm going to go into 4 decks I want to talk about that have come into my collection over the last couple of months. I have really slowed down adding to my tarot and oracle. I added quite a bit with some holiday and birthday money, and then I was like, and I'm done. There's only two things that I have that are coming. I have a Star Wars themed tarot deck called the Solar's Tarot, and then I did kickstart a Dungeons and Dragons themed tarot deck. So I don't know how like usable those might be in my practice, but I am a nerd and I wanted them to be part of my collection. As for the things that I have received here that I'm about to share, they have been extremely useful for my collection. The first is the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. This has been, I know a lot of people have been talking about this deck, but I was a little on the fence about getting it. I did initially pre-order it, and then I kind of decided that I was just going to hold off and wait to see how I felt about it. But the thing about it is that I started to, they're going to be all over, guys, I'm sorry. I started to want to understand the archetypes more, and the more that I did, the more I kind of understood myself and what archetypes that I tend to gravitate towards. But the thing that I had my reservations about with this deck was that for a while there I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to keep my Wild Unknown. And then I pulled it out and I read with it for a week, and it was like talking to an old friend. And I was like, I can't get rid of this. I can't. It's an awesome deck, and Kim Kranz is amazing. She's an incredible artist. I have some of her children's books too. But this deck is, my only complaint about this deck is that it's hard to shuffle. Other than that, it's amazing. And the big thing is, the thing that really kind of floored me about this deck, and I wish I had grabbed the guidebook because I would love to read that passage, is in the guidebook, she talks about how this deck came to be, where in her life she was when she was drawn to creating it, and everything that involved. And she talks about how her life fell apart and that she moved to the Oregon coast, and you know, the Archetypes deck kind of came to be as she was seeking solitude there. And I guess that spoke to me because the Oregon coast is something that's very near and dear to my heart. I spent a lot of time there when I was a kid. But the other thing is that was interesting is she talks about how she had opened up a shop in Portland. And I remember this because I've been following Kim Kranz since I received the Wild Unknown, which I pre-ordered in 2016. So I remember seeing her open the shop, and then suddenly she closed it, and I was like, that's bizarre, I wonder why. Because I couldn't imagine that, you know, it didn't seem to me that it would be like a struggle financially, but who knows, you never know someone's journey. So I just was like, oh, that's a shame, and didn't think much of it, because I thought it'd be really fun to go visit sometime, if I was back out in Oregon, or Washington. So it was just really interesting to read through that part of the guidebook and be like, oh, so that's why that happened. Wow, I really feel for her. I really highly suggest reading the guidebook if you get this deck. It really makes a huge difference on understanding the deck and communicating with it. Sorry guys, you're gonna notice a blip in the video just now because I had to cut it off and edit it because my son woke up, so I had to go take care of him. But to jump back into things, that I was discussing the Wild Unknown Archetypes by Kim Kranz, which I really think you could go deep with this deck. I think this deck has a lot of potential, and I'm really glad that I was able to get it, despite my initial reservations. I love when I'm proven wrong. Speaking of decks that you can go deep with, the next one I'm going to share is the Oracle of Echoes by Anna Torrian. This one I have wanted for probably about a year, and this deck is incredible. I think mostly because of its extremely well-balanced nature, and I'm going to show you guys the reason I got this deck, like what actually made me pull the trigger on purchasing it finally. If I can find it. I have a feeling it's probably like all the way in the back. Of course, the moment I'm like, let's check the back, it's not in the back. That's how this always happens. But Anna Torrian's artwork is really gorgeous. This is it right here. This was exceedingly important to me to have a card that represents depression. As you guys know, I have suffered from depression since I was 14, and I was really emotionally touched by having a card that represented depression in an oracle deck. So I plan on doing a lot of self-healing work with this deck, and I feel like I can go really far with it, and yeah, I've been enjoying my readings with it quite a bit. So Oracle of Echoes by Anna Torian, which I think is still available. I'm not sure on that, but she does print runs only so often, and yeah, so it's on her Etsy. And then there are 2 tarot decks that I'm going to share really quick, and then just a few other things, and that'll be it. So this next one is the Spacious Tarot. I got this for my birthday, and I only have one gripe about this deck: the fact that it smells like chemical. It must be the printer, but it just I need to stick something in here to make it smell good. I tried to stick lavender in here and it didn't honestly help. So other than that though, this deck is very beautiful. So the backs, and I was a little apprehensive to purchase this deck as well, or to get this deck as well, because it doesn't have any human figures, which I'm kind of noticing is my preference for my tarot decks for the most part, with some exceptions such as this. This is able to convey emotion and the human, or the card meanings very well, honestly. And I really enjoyed the readings I get with this. I love the kind of redo of the court cards too. So this is the Page of Pentacles. It's this Child of Pentacles. Each of the suits follow a season, which is kind of reminiscent of the Tarot of the Trees, which I also love. And yeah, that's my cat jumping off something, if you guys heard that thud. It's a fantastic deck, it really is, and I like the size of it, I really do. The size is, like, it's pretty small. So, missing a card. So that's the Spacious Tarot. The majors are just fantastic. Like, I was blown away by the majors, and I think it'd be really fun to path work with this deck, although I admittedly have never path worked with cards yet. I really haven't. It's just something I haven't tried yet. I need to try. The last one was one that I got and modded. So everyone knows this deck. This is the Druidcraft Tarot. I ended up getting this because I kind of wanted something that had a lot of, again, human figures, but had that very like earthy vibe to it. I did used to have the Wildwood, and I didn't connect with it, so I passed it on to my good friend Drew, and she loves it. But the Druidcraft, I felt like, let's give it a shot. And I initially, I immediately wanted to trim it and then use it as kind of an experiment to test my knowledge of the tarot, for one, but also my intuition when it comes to diving into the cards and the readings. So these cards don't have titles on them, I took them off. And it's been kind of a fun experiment. It really has. So, but I'm not going to show that much because everyone knows the Druidcraft Tarot. It's been around for a long time, and it's fantastic. And I wasn't sure if it was something that would work for me, but I really like its grounding energy. So that is now part of my collection as well. The last 2 things are gifts from friends that I got for my birthday. The first one is this really cool candle. It's from a company called Birthday Candles, and it's my birth date. And then it's got all this really cool information about January 23rd and those born on it and being an Aquarius. It is lavender, sage, and neroli. And it has like the strengths and weaknesses of those born on January 23rd. Intellectual, just, and tough for the strengths. Weaknesses: rigid, compromised, astounded. But this was sent to me by my good friend Raquel. It smells really good. I love it. And it's got a ton of information on the back as well. tarot card is the Hierophant, ruling planet is Uranus, and ruling number is 5. Those who are born on January 23rd know what they think and aren't afraid to say it. Isn't entirely true for me. I know what I think, but a lot of the times I'm afraid to say it because I'm worried I'm going to hurt someone's feelings or do something terrible, and I don't like hurting people. But yeah, I love it. It's fantastic, and it smells so good. And then the last thing that I've been really enjoying lately is the set of elemental prayer beads that my friend Erica made me. She was here on YouTube known as Raw Spirit, but she is no longer on YouTube. The same for Raquel. Raquel is the Barefoot Taurus, and I don't think she's on YouTube right now. I know she was doing podcasts, but she's had a lot of stuff going on in her life, and so I think she's taking a break from all that until she gets things sorted. But these are elemental prayer beads that were made by Erica, and this was something that I requested for her to make for me, and they're just amazing. She attached these really beautiful charms. This one is the 4 seasons, which I thought was incredible, and then she has a sun and a moon for me here, and then there's the 4 seasons, since I was out of focus. And then I've got the moon phases here as well, and a pentacle. So this is the second set of prayer beads I own that she has made me. This one I kind of wanted to use just for basically what, in general, pretty much to connect with just energy, essentially, and the 5 elements rather. And then she has also made me Freya prayer beads, which I use specifically when I'm trying to commune with Freya. So those were some of the things I have been enjoying lately, and I kind of wanted to share this with you guys. I know this video is a little bit long, so I apologize, but I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching. I also apologize for the interruption, but I'm a mom 24/7. So with that being said, I hope to be making more continuous content, and I'm sorry that I had to take a little bit of a break. It's just I was trying to deal with a lot at once, and yeah, say no more. Anyway, with that being said, blessed be, guys. Thanks for watching.